We had an egg retrieval February 10th, and then, literally like 2 weeks after we, got the results on our embryos, like the pandemic started happening. And so it's kind of frustrating that like for 2 weeks, like we kind of had this hope that we were going to start a family and be able to move along in the process. And that was just all destroyed by this pandemic.
We spent a few months just trying, the old-fashioned way to see if we could just get pregnant, and it wasn't happening. And then we're like, all right, let's just get to the bottom of what's going on.
When I was 15 or so, I started having pain in my leg, and that led to a number of tests, eventually a diagnosis of Ewing sarcoma. That was a good decision because we eventually, down here, used it not long ago.
We had just done a round of IVF treatment. Especially because I know, like I have several friends who have gone through this, and just like hearing other, stories from other people, just like how long this process can be. So I definitely started to feel a little anxious.
We were originally planning on starting IVF and like getting a consultation in like after like this fall basically. So we were planning on getting married this summer. Thankfully we were too lazy to plan a wedding because I think that would have also gotten interrupted by all this coronavirus stuff. But my firm changed their health insurance last year, and while our infertility benefits got better afterwards, it was kind of like scared us into realizing that we're incredibly fortunate to have this kind of coverage and it's not guaranteed to us. So we decided to do a consultation last fall.
So we have the embryos, and then we were supposed to go this week to get the second part of the fibroid removal procedure done. But then, and then we got the news that all elective surgeries were on pause, and all IVF procedures were on pause until further notice.
We have had to cancel cycles. Patients who maybe had just started their medications and their transfer wasn't going to happen for another 2 to 3 weeks. We called them, we spoke to them, kind of walked through the uncertain times and the concerns that we had for how to keep them safe and also ensure the healthiest pregnancy possible.
It's really the fact that for 5 years, I was not sure that we were going to be able to have kids. And I'm still not sure about that because there's no guarantees out of this process. But for 2 weeks, I finally had some hope.
I definitely feel like the clock ticking. But at the same time, I don't know what we can do about it. Nothing, I guess. There's nothing we can do.
Long term, it means that our plans are delayed by a good deal.
I'm worried about the backlog of treatment that's going to happen once clinics start back up again. And I'm one of those people where, I feel fortunate where we're at right now with the embryos we have and my age, that we still have time. And so for me, from a moral perspective, it's once the clinics do open up again, is it really fair for me to kind of jump in right away? I kind of struggle with that too, where maybe it's we wait for things to settle down.
I think the initial focus is, what about my cycle? But then the bigger focus is, well, what about my pregnancy if my cycle is successful and I move forward? We do know that with other viruses, such as influenza and the SARS, which is also a coronavirus, there were pregnancy complications, higher risks of pneumonia, higher risks of preterm delivery, and we don't have quite enough information to understand if we're going to be seeing those same risks with COVID. Though if we had to extrapolate from other viruses, then we have to anticipate that we are going to see those complications. And so we're assuming that pregnant women are in the high risk category if they do contract the virus.
Now we're in this sort of like moral quandary. Like, can we even try on our own, or do we have to actually even actively prevent getting pregnant right now? Which, like, that seems like a real like kick in the teeth, after like spending like almost a year, going through like taking great pains to get pregnant. Now all of a sudden, like, oh, now we have to like not get pregnant.
Having treatment for infertility postponed and like delaying transfers is like heartbreaking. Like, we're grieving it and we're coping with it in various ways. On the other side of this, like, we be in a space financially where we feel like we can have a kid again, or mentally, like, how much trauma is going to be left over, with all of us, like, once this is over.